India versus Pakistan. Every major war and today's military. Since gaining independence in 1947, India and Pakistan have experienced several military conflicts. Here's a quick look at their history and where things stand today. Everything started in 1947, when British India was divided into India and Pakistan. Soon after independence, fighting broke out over the region of Kashmir. The first war lasted until 1948 and ended with a UN-mediated ceasefire. Kashmir remained divided by a ceasefire line, now known as the Line of Control. The second major war came in 1965. Heavy fighting took place on land and in the air. Thousands of soldiers fought on both sides. After international diplomatic efforts, both countries agreed to stop the fighting, and the Tashkent Agreement was signed in 1966. The biggest conflict happened in 1971. Political unrest in East Pakistan turned into war. India became involved after millions of refugees crossed the border. The conflict ended with the creation of the independent nation of Bangladesh. It remains the largest war fought between India and Pakistan. In 1999, another conflict occurred in the Kargil region. The fighting took place in difficult mountain terrain at high altitude. After weeks of combat and international diplomatic pressure, the conflict ended and the situation returned to the previous positions. Since then, relations have included periods of tension, border incidents, and diplomatic efforts. But there has not been another full-scale war. Today, both India and Pakistan are nuclear-armed countries, which makes any major conflict extremely dangerous. This is one reason why many countries encourage dialogue and de-escalation during times of tension. India has one of the world's largest armed forces, with a large army, navy, and air force. It continues to invest in modern fighter jets, aircraft carriers, missile defense systems, drones, and indigenous defense technology. Pakistan also maintains a modern military with advanced fighter aircraft, missile systems, drones, tanks, and a strong focus on air defense and strategic deterrence. It continues to upgrade its military capabilities through domestic production and international partnerships. The history of India and Pakistan shows that war causes significant human suffering and economic losses. Many experts agree that diplomacy, communication, and peaceful solutions are the best way to reduce tensions and protect lives. If you enjoy learning about world history, military technology, and global facts, subscribe for more informative videos. Iran versus America. The rivalry explained. What if two powerful countries spent decades in conflict without fighting a full-scale war? That is the story of Iran and the United States. Their relationship was not always hostile. Before 1979, the two countries were close allies. The United States supported Iran's government, and the two worked together on security and trade. Everything changed with the Iranian Revolution in 1979. A new government came to power, and later that year, American diplomats were taken hostage at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. The hostage crisis lasted 444 days and severely damaged relations. Since then, tensions have continued for decades. The two countries have disagreed over Iran's nuclear program, economic sanctions, military activities, and influence in the Middle East. Although there have been several dangerous moments, both countries have generally avoided a direct, full-scale war. Instead, their rivalry has often involved sanctions, cyber attacks, proxy conflicts, and diplomatic pressure. One of the most serious moments came in January 2020, when the United States killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in a drone strike in Iraq. Iran responded by launching missiles at military bases housing U.S. forces. Fortunately, the situation did not develop into a wider war. The conflict has also affected global oil prices and international politics. Whenever tensions rise, markets and governments around the world pay close attention because the Middle East is important for global energy supplies. Today, Iran and the United States still have major disagreements. However, diplomats and world leaders continue to search for ways to reduce tensions and prevent a larger conflict. History shows that diplomacy can sometimes prevent wars, even between longtime rivals. If you enjoyed this quick history fact, like, subscribe, and follow for more world facts and history videos. Russia and Ukraine were once part of the Soviet Union. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Ukraine became an independent country. Russia officially recognized Ukraine as a sovereign nation, and for many years, the two countries maintained diplomatic and economic relations. In 1994, Ukraine agreed to give up the nuclear weapons it had inherited from the Soviet Union under the Budapest Memorandum. In return, Russia, the United States, and the United Kingdom pledged to respect Ukraine's independence and territorial integrity. Relations began to deteriorate over the following years because of political disagreements and differing views on security and international alliances. In 2014, after major political changes in Ukraine, Russia took control of Crimea and later incorporated it. Most countries and the United Nations continued to recognize Crimea as part of Ukraine. Fighting also broke out in the eastern Donbas region between Ukrainian forces and Russia-backed separatists, leading to years of conflict. Between 2014 and 2021, several ceasefire agreements were attempted, but clashes continued and no lasting political solution was reached. On the 24th of February 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Fighting spread across multiple regions, causing widespread destruction and displacing millions of civilians. The war quickly became one of the largest conflicts in Europe since World War II. Ukraine received military, financial, and humanitarian support from many countries, while Russia continued its military campaign. Both sides suffered heavy military losses, and civilians were also deeply affected. During the war, several rounds of peace talks and prisoner exchanges took place, but no comprehensive peace agreement was reached. Today, the conflict continues. It has affected global food supplies, energy markets, and international security. Many governments and international organizations continue to call for diplomacy and negotiations as the best path toward a lasting peace. The history of Russia and Ukraine shows how political disputes can grow into long and costly conflicts. While the future remains uncertain, efforts toward dialogue and peace continue to be supported by much of the international community.